Good morning from Connecticut, everybody. We're going to wait just a minute as people start to join us in the webinar. So we'll just wait another 30 seconds or so, and then we'll go ahead and get started. For those of you joining us just now, thank you so much for being here with us. It's great to have you, and we're looking forward to answering your questions. We'll just wait another minute. Okay, I can see that there's a nice group who's joined us at this time. So we'll get off to a slow start just so folks can take the time to join us. But we're really thrilled that you've decided to take part in our live webinar. It's 9 a.m. in Connecticut, and so my colleague Kelsey and I are here ready to answer your questions, talk to you a bit more about the GBS program. And I can see that the number of participants is starting to increase, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Great place to start is with introductions. My name is Joanne Legler, and I'm the Director of Admissions for the MMS in Global Business and Society at the Yale School of Management. I'm lucky enough to be joined by two of my colleagues this morning. Rachel Kinney is on the back end helping us with the presentation, and I'll let Kelsey introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Kelsey Kinney, and I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions for the GBS program.
Great, thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Kelsey, for being here today. And we're really excited to talk to you a bit more about the GBS program and answer your questions. So throughout the presentation at any point, I encourage you to use the Q&A feature to go ahead and ask us some questions. We'll do our best to weave those questions in as we're going along into the conversation, but we'll definitely leave a few minutes towards the end. That way, if you have any questions at that time, we'll be very happy to answer them at the end. So starting with our next slide, I think a great place to start this presentation is to give you a glimpse into what the GBS program sort of looks like. The GBS program is a one-year program. It's designed specifically for MIM, or Masters in whatever it is that your school might call it, Masters in Management programs, Masters in International Management programs. It might be different at different schools. That's who this is for. So the first requirement is for students to have been in or graduated from an MIM program at one of our partner schools in the Global Network for Advanced Management. We'll talk all about this sort of thing in the next few slides. But here's a great slide to introduce you to who makes up the GBS class. The class has been only 2 years, so we just started this program a couple of years ago. And the class of 2020, who just graduated a few months ago, consisted of 51 students from around the world. At that time, they represented 19 countries of citizenship and 8 different global network schools. As you can see, over half were women. About 94%, almost everybody, speaks more than one language, and several of them speak 3 or more languages. Many had already had some work experience or studied in another country. So this is a very globally minded, a global group. And we really think that they represent the best and brightest students from across the Global Network for Advanced Management. The class of 2021 will be joining us in just a couple of weeks, which we're really excited about. And we'll do so both in person through our hybrid model of instruction for this upcoming year, and remotely from wherever they may be tuning in from at the time. Moving on to the next slide, as we mentioned, the Global Network for Advanced Management is a collection of schools that has come together to share resources, share research, share faculty, and exchange with students. And this is a really cool opportunity, I think, for some of the best business schools in the entire world to come together and share all of these wonderful opportunities with each other. And many other business schools, there are partnerships or exchanges that take place pretty frequently. But through our engagement with the Global Network, we can now build connections with 31 other schools, including ourselves. The number is now 32 across the world, with several in Europe, in the Middle East, 10 schools in Asia and the Pacific Islands, 4 in Africa, 6 in the Americas. Each member school, we think, is a leader in its respective country. And the schools reside, as you can tell, both in well-established economies and in more emerging economies. And we're really thrilled to welcome 2 new schools over the last year, the Moscow School of Management, Skolkovo in Russia, and the Stockholm School of Economics in Sweden. For us, the GNAM goes beyond a typical exchange program. So as you can see from this graphic here, this really is not a one-to-one partnership or relationship, but instead it's creating opportunities to span a range of economies, countries, languages, cultures. The Global Network is really a platform, both for, like I said, formal curricular opportunities, content and innovation, and individual initiative. So compared to the traditional approach, as you can see, this model really allows for an opportunity to connect to many more people in a much more diverse economic environment and global space. On the next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about what it means to be part of the network and what the network can offer students and faculty. There are many opportunities for us to use these great relationships to further study in a number of different topics. So first of all, we have Global Network Weeks. These are week-long opportunities for students to choose to study in a country or a topic that they've always been interested in or something that has piqued their interest recently. Global Network Weeks are hosted by individual Global Network schools, and students who attend the Global Network Weeks come from all over the network, which is really exciting. Great way not only to learn something new, but have some fun, have some opportunities for cultural learning as well, and start to create a much more global network. We also have Global Network courses. These are small networked online courses, or SNOCs, which is sort of a funny word, but these are faculty-led courses that are taught across the network, but allow students from other Global Network schools to participate. This is really great because it teaches you how to do business across the challenges that we have being in a global society of different time zones, different cultures, different languages, technology. I think what's really cool about this now in our current global pandemic world is we've been doing this for years across the network. We've gotten really good at it from a media and technology perspective, and our students have been learning this way for a really long time. So shifting to a remote model of learning or a hybrid model of learning for us at Yale and across our global network schools, where we're sharing best practices, is going to allow for students to feel really comfortable already with the technology moving forward into this upcoming hybrid year. We also host several case competitions. We also have opportunities for students to learn through the case method or the raw case method here at Yale SOM. Those are web-based multimedia courses that are taught and developed here at Yale SOM, but through the global network, our faculty have the opportunity to collaborate, again, across time zones, across cultures, across economies, across different ways of thinking about some of the biggest challenges that face our businesses today. So those cases are worked on at Yale SOM, but in collaboration with faculty across the network. We also do, like I said, have case competitions as well. So we host several events through the global network, which allows students to compete against each other by school, which fosters a lot of school pride, healthy competition. Sometimes there's a little bit of money or travel involved. And again, this really offers an opportunity for students to learn how somebody might solve a case in a really different way. There's also a few leadership challenges, fun way to get to know everybody else. And then finally, it's you. The MMS at Yale is a degree program under the MMS flag. We have the Global Business and Society course, which again is for early career professionals, GNM, MIM graduates. Again, very global minded, a one-year program, and it really serves global recruiters as well. And so this is an opportunity for recruiters to know that they are seeking talent from a very globally minded group. We also do a ton of surveys and benchmarking. We did one recently on the role of women in the workplace. So the Global Network truly in the last 7 or 8 years has come together to further study in the area of management. So moving forward from there, I think it's important to know what SOM is, what we have to offer students across the school. The School of Management at Yale is actually one of the youngest graduate programs, also one of the largest. So the School of Management enrolls students in several different degree programs. Like many of your schools, we have a traditional full-time MBA. Ours is 2 years long. We enroll about 350 full-time MBA students every year. A small subset of that group is a group called the Silver Scholars. These are recent college and university graduates who come to an MBA a little earlier in their career than is most typical for an MBA program here in the States, but really allows them an opportunity to actually spread it out over 3 years with an internship year in between. The MBA for executives is the same thing as our MBA, But for working professionals, so this group of 75 students comes to us every other weekend for 22 months. And there's a really great mentorship program between the MBA for executive students and the global business and society students. So our most experienced students mentor our newest and early career students. But it's been really cool to watch the mentorship go both ways. Not only do our executive students get to mentor their mentees, but the mentees who are coming in as new professionals are really offering a unique perspective into their generation and what it's like to hire for talent in that space. The MAM program also relies on the Global Network for Advanced Management. This is a one-year degree program that follows an MBA at any one of our other 31 partner schools. So these students are in their late 20s to early 30s, having 5 to 7, as much as 9 or 10 years of work experience. The Master of Management Studies, or the MMS, is our newest degree offering, and under that flag you can see we have 3 different programs. The Global Business and Society program for new professionals. We also have a program that's going to launch next fall called the MMS in Asset Management. And then a small group of students has been joining us every year for the last several years to take our degree in systemic risk. This is for students working at central banks around the world, working on issues of macroprudential policy and financial crisis management. And then we have a number of PhD students who help to act as TAs, but are students in their own right as well at the School of Management. So moving on to our next slide, I think this is a great opportunity to remind everybody what brings us all together, regardless of degree program, regardless of experience, regardless of background. All of these programs are united and inspired by the founding mission of the School of Management. At the SOM, the mission really matters. It motivates students, faculty, staff. It provides a lot of long-term strategic guidance. And it also helps to inform decisions and actions that we take on an everyday basis as well. As you can see, our mission is to educate leaders for business and society. So our aim is to develop leaders who have the ability to think really broadly about the problems that business leaders face every single day, but also prepare them for the problems that they're going to face in the future as well. And I think what really unites everybody at SOM is having a deep sense of purpose for what they do from a work perspective. So for you, what does this mean for you? Hopefully what it means is that you are connecting with people who share this passion to do really good in your business, but to do really great things for the larger society as well. That might be your team, might be your organization. Thinking more broadly, that might be your city, your country. It might be even an opportunity for global leadership one of these days. But through the Global Network for Advanced Management, you're going to have access to experts, to schools, to companies across 25 countries around the world. So throughout our programs, we're really cultivating this approach to leadership where you're going to learn to take multiple perspectives on any issue and see where the connections are between the decisions that you make and the stakeholders that you touch, regardless of the industry or sector that you choose to work in the future. To put a finer point on it, let's talk a little bit about the opportunities that the GBS program offers those who have already graduated from a master's program. So on the next slide, we'll talk about why would I do this program? What am I going to get out of it? It's a big undertaking, leaving your home country and taking on a degree for an entire year at Yale University. So why would you do this? Well, kind of imagine your own situation if you can. You're maybe immersed in your MIM studies now or thinking about going into a Master of Management program. And maybe if you did those programs or you're looking into them, maybe there were some surprises along the way. Maybe there was an area of learning that you discovered you had a particular passion for, subjects you wanted to go deeper into. That's the extraordinary depth that the GBS program has to offer. You didn't have time to explore something that you found a passion for either in your undergraduate days or in your master's program. Come and do it here at the School of Management and find out how much more you can learn in whatever it is that has interested you, whether that's global business, marketing, operations, or finance. And then on the breadth side of things, this is an opportunity where you might look around and say, what didn't I get to take? What are things that I might just want to take a course in or find out more about on a sort of more basic level? Great. Take some classes and have that opportunity to really broaden your horizons from an academic perspective. So you'll be able to both dive deep, but also be quite broad about what it is that you want to explore in the 9 months that you're with us. For us, the end goal is that you've got 3 really great reasons to do this program. Number one, 2 networks, 2 brands. This is something you'll be able to put on your resume, that you have 2 master's degrees from 2 top business schools, global business schools around the world. And that, of course, is going to exponentially increase the size and the breadth of your own personal network. This also will open up opportunities for global careers. So perhaps in your undergraduate days or your master's days, you found yourself looking at jobs and opportunities, but with a sort of narrow scope of the area of the world that you're from. Yale SOM has a great career development office, which is used to placing students in careers globally, regardless of where your citizenship might be, where you might be from, or where you may have worked in the past. And then finally, again, I really hope, going back to our mission, that you're excited to join this community of purpose. Everybody who is at SOM now can rattle off that mission, no problem. So if this is a community that you want to join, purposeful students who are eager to have this global network, have this really unique experience, and if that sounds exciting to you, to join that type of students who are excited to take advantage of the opportunities to connect globally with you, then absolutely that would be a great reason to join the program as well. And we'll talk more about the community at SOM as we go through. On the next slide, we'll go a little bit deeper into the curriculum of the GBS program. Pretty unique, but we're really hoping to build on what you might have already learned, or what we expect that you've learned in your Master's of Management program, and then take it to the next level. As you can see, it's quite electives based. We do have 2 required classes for each GBS student to take, business and government after communism, so a nice history lesson there, and then global leadership, personal and interpersonal effectiveness, which is a bit of a mouthful, but as you can tell, that's our leadership course. Opportunity to really delve into your own leadership style, learn about other leadership styles, and learn how to lead both individuals and organizations. Beyond that, we've curated a list of 16 units of advanced management courses that you must take from this list. This list represents the best of the electives and core courses that students in other degree programs are already taking. It's been pared down just for the GBS students, meaning that your class is going to be quite small, and because of all the students who are in the program being quite small and then spread out across these different offerings through the GBS curriculum, you're going to be in some really small classes, which offer an opportunity for a lot of great one-to-one with your classmates and your faculty member. These will change from year to year, depending on what's being offered at the School of Management, depending on what faculty are teaching from year to year. So as you can see, this is subject to change, but we hope that you're finding these topics very interesting. And as you can see, they're going to build upon what you've already learned in your undergraduate or your master's degree. The next slide will show you that beyond that, to order to obtain the degree in the end, you will fill out or round out the rest of your class choices with electives across Yale University. You can choose from over 100 courses just at the School of Management, and I'm certain that you'll be very excited by the offerings at the School of Management, but we will definitely encourage you to get out there and take advantage of all that Yale University has to offer. You could take classes in any one of our 11 professional schools, the graduate schools of arts and sciences, or you could take a class at the undergraduate level. Some of the more popular options at the School of Management are things like behavioral economics, management of software development, digital strategy, negotiations, and then at the Yale level, we'll go to the next slide and I can show you how students have taken this opportunity to check out what Yale has to offer. So these are actual examples from our very first GBS class of 2019. So on the left-hand side, you can see that Paul, who is Austrian, but did his master's at HKUST in Hong Kong, took quite a few, of course, management courses because that's where his area of interest is, but then took an opportunity to take a drama class and a global affairs class. The drama class that's listed here is actually one of the most popular electives for SOM students to take at Yale University. And this particular class is about learning to tell your own personal story in a way that's compelling and really work on your own ability to tell a story verbally and your own tics or mannerisms and things that you might need to work on to be a more effective communicator. On the right, Constance, who is both a US and Italian citizen and did her master's degree at IE Business School in Spain. You can see that she customized her curriculum to also take most of her classes at the School of Management. But as you can see, she was eager to practice her French language skills and took 2 language courses as well as a psychology course. And so I'm guessing for Constance, this was an area that she found quite fascinating and never had a chance to delve into. and decided to take the opportunity to take that psychology course here at Yale University. So as you can see, our students really loaded up on School of Management courses, but definitely took an opportunity to delve into what Yale has to offer while they were with us as well. I'm going to take a quick breath to just remind you that we do have a Q&A feature, and I encourage you to hop into the Q&A feature at any time. Kelsey is going to take over the rest of the presentation from here. So we're really happy to answer those questions for you live. I can type some answers in as Kelsey is talking, or we can wait till the end and answer your questions as you have them. But please don't be shy. This is a great opportunity to get those questions answered if you have them. And we have some other questions that have been submitted ahead of time, and so we'll answer those questions too, questions you didn't even know you had. But for now, I'm going to hand it over to Kelsey to talk a little bit more about our community and about our admissions process.
Great, thanks, Joanne. So as we move to the next slide, I'll be able to tell you a little bit more about the extracurricular activities that you can get involved in as a student at Yale SOM. And there are so many that range from a variety of clubs, including social clubs like the hockey club that you're seeing on the screen now, to things like the Food and Wine Club. We also have affinity clubs like the Southeast Asia Club or the Women in Management Club. So there are a ton you can get involved in. On a previous slide, Joanne talked a little bit about the case competitions that you could get involved in, which is pictured here, and our students are always excited for a little bit of healthy competition with other students at SOM and across the global network. And as we move through the pictures, you'll be able to see that you can attend a bunch of really great conferences at Yale SOM, ones that come back year after year, including the Healthcare Conference and the Education Leadership Conference. I've seen a FinTech conference here that was really popular, so there are a ton of different ones to get involved in. And we also hope that while you're in the US, you will embrace some of the traditions that we have to offer here. And one of those is the US holiday Thanksgiving in November. Our spin on it at SOM is called Friendsgiving. So you'll get together at SOM with all of your classmates and your professors and staff members and enjoy a really nice traditional Thanksgiving meal together. And as we continue through the pictures, you'll get to see some more fall activities. Fall is a busy time of year here at Yale SOM, and you may have heard of the famous Yale-Harvard football game. So every year the game is either at Yale or at Harvard, and our students get all decked out in Yale apparel and go to support their team, whatever school is hosting the game that year. And all of this begins at orientation. So we have you immersed in a really interactive orientation, so you get to know your cohort students within the GBS program, and you start to build those ties with them right from the very beginning. But you won't only be interacting with GBS students. The next few pictures will show you different ways that you can get involved with other students, including MBA students and MAM students. Pictured here is a shot from the internship fund, which is a really great opportunity to get involved with MBA students and help them achieve their goals of obtaining an internship over the summer. You get to bid on some really exciting things, and faculty and staff also get involved in this as well. And here is one of my favorite things that SOM has to offer. It's Closing Bell, which is essentially a party to celebrate the end of the academic week every week. So on Thursday, the students get together at Evans Hall to celebrate the end of the week. Every week is themed differently. I love this shot here because it was themed for various countries. So students put up tables for their home countries or countries where they lived, and they made traditional food and taught dances and dressed in traditional clothing. So it was a really great night for students to be able to share with each other a little bit more about who they are and where they come from. And all of this, we hope that you embrace the community at Yale SOM, at Yale University. Within your cohort, it's a really fantastic cohort within the GBS cohort, but we also hope that you go out and explore other students within the MBA, within the MAM, and students at Yale University. So another great thing that we are able to offer at Yale SOM, being in Evans Hall, is that we attract a lot of really great speakers. We'll go through just a few of them. Pictured here is Janet Yellen, the former chairman of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. Pictured here with our finance faculty member, Andrew Metrick. And on the next slide, I believe we actually have an alum featured, Laszlo Bach, class of '99, who is the CEO and founder of Humu, and who's also known for his time at Google, pictured here with Amy Wisniewski, our professor of organizational behavior. And on the next slide, you will get to see a student interacting with one of our really amazing speakers. This photo is one of my favorites. It features one of our MAM students, Rahina Garba, who is from Ghana, and she's pictured here in this photo with the President of the Republic of Ghana. So you can imagine how exciting that was for her to come to Yale SOM to meet the President of her home country, and to be able to present him with a gift. They're also pictured here with one of our professors, Elijah Pinkville. And what you can't tell from this photo, because it's of just the three of them, was that this was a completely packed event. Our largest auditorium at Yale SOM was totally full, and we even had to broadcast it into some classrooms so that everyone who wanted to see it could. And as we move along, we'll be able to talk about what else you'll do at Yale. So you are not only a student here at Yale SOM, you are a student of Yale University. And we hope that you take advantage of that and everything that it has to offer. So as we go through the pictures, you'll be able to see what life is like here at Yale. And these are all taken on really pretty days, but I promise Yale is beautiful all year round. And what we hope is that you will take advantage of this and study in our libraries, and attend plays and conferences and join organizations throughout the university, and really take advantage of what it means to be a Yale student. And not only stay within SOM, but go out and explore. And you'll meet a ton of great students whose interests are very similar to yours probably, even if you aren't studying the same thing, and you'll really be able to broaden your network throughout Yale University. Here's just a couple more shots showing you all different shots of Yale apart from SOM. But unfortunately, 9 months does go by quickly. It's a one-year program, so you probably want to know where you'll end up after these 9 months. And while we've only had a couple of classes complete the GBS so far, as it is such a new program, we've learned that they have gotten jobs at some really great global companies, a few of which you could see pictured here. We're partnered with a fantastic career development office, some staff members who are dedicated to working just with the GBS students to really hone in on that global job search that our students are looking for. Students come from all over the world, and they tend to end up at some really fantastic global companies. Now, I hope all of this sounds good to you. I hope that you're interested in applying. I'll give you a little bit of information of what that process looks like. You'll start the application online, and what we ask for are your transcripts from every degree granting university you've been to. So this will be your undergraduate degree, your MIM degree. Even if you are in the middle of it, we'll ask for your transcript up until the date that you're working on it. We will require your entrance exam score, whether that is a GMAT or a GRE, or if you come from a school that required a different exam. For example, I think IE requires the IE GAT, so whichever test score you use to obtain admission to your global network school, we will accept the same score. And then we require 2 letters of recommendation. One is a letter of good standing from the dean or director of your MIM program. And they will know what this is. So if you tell them that you're interested in applying to the GBS program, they'll know how to get in touch with us to deliver us that letter or that recommendation. The second letter is a professional letter of recommendation. So we ask that this come from a current or former supervisor, someone who can speak to your experience to succeed in this program. It is a difficult program, it's rigorous, and we want you to be able to succeed, and we hope that you will select someone who can speak to your ability. After those, you will pay the $100 application fee to submit your application, which will then direct you to complete a series of video questions. And this is what I tend to get the most questions about while applicants are completing their application. Makes people a little bit nervous to be on film, which I totally understand, but I promise that these questions are not meant to trick you. They're not meant to stump you. We won't be putting equations on the screen asking you to solve them. It just helps us get to know you a little bit better. And we don't require a language test, so it also helps us gauge your language ability. The program is taught in English, and it's a fast-paced program. And then after that, we will extend interviews. Interviews are by invitation only. And we have the tuition figure on the screen. We know that this is a big number, but we are committed to making this a possibility for all of our admitted students through a combination of loans and scholarships. And then the next figure that will appear are the application deadlines. Now, we don't have exact dates yet, but we plan to launch the application in September or October of this year. And you can bet that the round deadlines will stay the same months, so January, February, and April, and we will release those exact dates that they're due. So with that, it looks like we have some questions coming in from the Q&A. I know Joanne said we had a couple of pre-submitted questions, so I'm happy to hand it back over to help answer some of those.
Great, thanks, Kelsey. I'll ask you to help me with a couple of these questions. I'll take the first one because it's quick and easy. How many students will be in the class of 2022? And the answer is we hope to have a full cohort. For us at SOM, a cohort generally consists of between 65 and 70 students each year. And that's what we had hoped for this year. With the global pandemic, we did have some students who had to make other choices about taking a gap year, working for a little bit. Visa and travel issues have certainly made it difficult for students to imagine doing a program this year. And so I think the cohort will be probably closer to the size it was last year. So when the program first started, we had 32 students, last year 51, closer to 50 this year, but hopefully we'll be able to ramp up to a full cohort size between 65 and 70 for the class of 2022. Kelsey, you already mentioned a couple of the opportunities that students have had after the program is over. So from a career perspective, we can tell you with ease that students have gone on to opportunities in banking, in consulting, in marketing. Some have gone back to their family companies. Some have turned an internship or a gap year prior to the start of the GBS program into a full-time offer prior to coming to the program. And so really the career opportunities are endless. And we really do help you here at the Career Development Office at Yale SOM, but absolutely encourage students to go back to their home universities, either undergrad or their master's programs, to make sure that they mine those opportunities as well. So again, another benefit of the program, 2 networks, 2 brands, 2 top-tier business schools, but 2 career development offices as well. And so you can always go back to your home university and make sure that you're taking advantage of everything that that has to offer. Kelsey, since we just came off of the admissions slide, can you talk a little bit about the characteristics of what we look for in an applicant? We already put down what we think I think we've captured everything in terms of requirements, but what would you say we're looking for when we read an application, when we interview a student? I'm happy to chime in too, but I'd love your thoughts first.
Yeah, I get that question a lot, and I always say it's a tough question because we don't have a cookie cutter student. One thing I love about this program is that our students all have different interests and they have different internships that they've done, different undergraduate degrees that they've studied and things like that. But give you a little bit more of a concrete answer, it is a rigorous program, so I'm sure you can imagine some things that we look for are academic excellence, strong test scores, leadership experience, either in clubs or taking on some projects in your internship. I know that's an early career program, so there are some ways to demonstrate that. But that's what I would say. Joanne, I don't know if you have anything different to add.
Not different, but additional, for sure. I think you captured everything really nicely. I want to make 2 comments. One, we've mentioned test scores a couple of times, but I do think it's important to let you know that we will not require a test score if your school has not required a test score for your master's programs. Some students say, oh my gosh, do I have to like run and take the GMAT or the GRE right now? We'll take the test score. Kelsey mentioned the IE GAP, for instance, that was used to for you to gain admission to your master's program. And the only thing I would add, Kelsey, in terms of characteristics is internship experiences or work experiences as well, because your career will begin in earnest, most likely for many of you after the program is over. Seeing a progression of increasing responsibilities through internships and part-time jobs is also important. And I think those that are most successful in the career process often have a history of really terrific summer internships, year-long internships, gap years that they can rely on as they start to build their resume even further. And so there is a question here too about jumpstarting your career through the GBS program. Correct. GBS students, not SOM students, as the person has asked here, don't have much work experience before joining. It is absolutely intended for those who have 1 to 3 years of work experience or haven't had any work experience yet. So it's not the best program for somebody who has significant work experience, and that might be the difference between doing a master's degree or 2 master's degrees for early career students or doing an MBA. The MBA is completely different, and it really is an opportunity for students to take 2 years, at least at SOM, to explore all of the core curriculum, which is required in the MBA program at SOM and for most business schools. And that's going to delve into the basics of accounting, economics, statistics, and management courses. And that's quite different from the GBS program. The MBA oftentimes, at least in the US, also offers an internship opportunity between the first and the second year. And that's an opportunity for students to really explore an area where they might be new for them. So maybe they were a banker and they want to be a consultant, or they were a teacher and want to now move into marketing. And so the opportunity to explore something as an internship in between the first and second year is quite critical to the MBA component. MBAs tend to have between 5 and 7 years of work experience and is intended to come at a point in the career where they've already obtained quite a bit of work experience and are using the MBA to springboard into something else or to springboard into a larger position of leadership moving forward. So they are quite different. And again, with the GBS program, you have to have done a master's in management. So you'll have delved into quite a few topics of management specifically, and then elevated that through the GBS program. So they are pretty different. Back to the application, Kelsey. We talked about the application opening up in September, maybe October, and some students will just be starting their program at that time. So when they apply, they won't have transcripts by then. What's your advice for somebody who's just started their degree but wants to apply in terms of how they can show us success in their master's program so far?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we definitely have students who do apply early in their MIM journey. And a reason that we ask for a recommendation from your dean or director is to show that you've been a good community member so far. And while you may have just joined, if you have any grades on your transcript up until that point, we'll ask for those. If not, then that's okay too. We have had applicants who are very new to their MIM. They're starting, they're in classes at that time, and you can just explain that in your application.
And our application isn't due until January, so you will likely have grades by then. Just because you open an application in September doesn't mean that's when you should submit it. So we would actually probably encourage you to wait and submit your application a little bit closer to our first January deadline, or even the second round deadline in February, especially if it's going to be particularly important for you to show the committee how well you're doing in your master's program. That might be because your grades from undergrad aren't as high as you would like them to be, or you just want to add that strength to your application. But most likely we actually will have some grades by then, and when we don't, we know what to do. So please don't worry too much about that. The last question that we have here, Kelsey, and then maybe we can go to some of the submitted ones before we end our time together, is about the letters of recommendation. You know, you talked about it being from a professional source, but would we take an academic letter of recommendation, for instance, and would we see them both similarly?
We would. We know that this is an early career program. So if you are just starting out in an internship, or if you don't have as much internship experience and you think that a professor can better speak to your ability, that's fine to ask a professor to write that letter of recommendation as well.
Great. So with the 5 minutes or so that we have left and not seeing any other Q&As, which is totally fine, we can go into some of our pre-submitted questions as well. I do see one more question here, so we'll definitely get to that before we end. But Chelsea, we have this really unique process called M2M. We haven't had a chance to explain that yet. There might be some students on the call who haven't yet explored their first master's program. So can you just take a minute to talk about what M2M is as it relates to GBS?
Sure. M2M is an admissions pathway that you ultimately end up at the GBS program after a one-year master's degree, but you receive your admissions decision at the same time. So you will simultaneously apply to 2 of these schools. The schools that you can apply to are HKUST in Hong Kong, HEC in Paris, UBC in Vancouver, and FGV in Brazil. So when you open an application at one of those schools, it will always be at one of those schools first, as they are the year 1 school, and Yale SOM would always be your year 2 school. You will typically select an option that says, I'm interested in applying through M2M. So after you complete the application, you will be directed to subset of extra questions to submit your application to the GBS program at Yale. So you're building out a little bit of a timeline in that case. You are figuring out your next 2 years, 3 years if you take a gap year in between. So the benefit of that is that you'll be planning ahead a couple of years. You'll get your admissions decisions at the same time. And while you don't get to Yale SOM any more quickly, you have a plan laid out for it to be your second year of study.
Great, thanks, Kelsey. M2M stands for Masters to Masters. It also helps that you're getting 2 master's programs and 2 master's degrees when you're done. And we've chosen to partner with those schools as it offers an opportunity to be quite diverse globally. And so if you have not gotten a master's yet and you are still looking into that first master's program, that's a really cool opportunity and a simultaneous application process, which is a little bit less work than necessarily having to do 2 from scratch. The question that we have here in the Q&A is, GBS students don't have a lot of work experience before joining the program, and so is it okay if they don't know what they want to work, what field they'd like to work in yet? And the answer is that's absolutely okay. I think part of the opportunity in a master's program, whether it's your first master's degree or the one in the GBS program, is for exploration and working with the career development office at your home university, your master's university, and at Yale SOM. And take advantage of all the opportunities that you're going to get to explore the different fields by companies coming to visit, by alumni coming back and sitting on panels to talk to you about what it's like to work in consulting or what it means to be an investment banker, or how difficult it might be to get into a very nuanced field like private equity. So it's absolutely okay. We do look for some direction, some understanding that you have a defined set of interests, but absolutely understand that at this early stage in your career, you may be exploring quite a few things. So it's okay for you to have had internships in different areas. We understand that at this point in your life, you are definitely still in the exploration phase. So we're happy to work with you there. So let's do like maybe 1 or 2 more questions. One student wants to know if they can take PhD classes. Kelsey, what's the quick answer to that?
I would say it will likely be a no. Those classes are pretty much reserved for PhD students, and the level of study I would imagine is a bit more advanced than our GBS students may be ready for. So I would say the quick answer is no. I don't know of any exceptions, Joanne, if you do.
No, I think the PhD students are here mainly sort of to study very deeply in an academic discipline that they've decided is their passion, and it's going to lead toward a degree most likely in either research or academia. And so PhD programs, at least in the US, tend to bend in that direction. The programs that we have to offer, like GBS, MAM, and the MBA, are professional degree programs designed to get you into a job after graduation. So they're a little bit different in that way. And then I think we'll take one more, which I think is a really good question, and especially right now. Can I work in the US after the program is over? And the short answer is yes, with a huge asterisk in that you must be authorized to work in the US when the program is over. And that's not an admissions decision. That actually comes through the Office of International Students and Scholars, as well as the company who may be looking to hire you. So it is quite difficult to get work authorization in the US these days. It has been for the last several years, and unfortunately that's not getting any better at this time. However, being in a master's program at a top university in the US, I think can definitely help employers try to lobby on your behalf for that work authorization from the United States government. Typically speaking, students can get something called OPT, Optional Practical Training, which allows for work in the US for 1 year post-graduation. And then if you're lucky enough to find an employer who'd be willing to sponsor your visa beyond that, then yes, absolutely, you'd be allowed to work in the US. I think for our GBS students, for our MAM students, our MBA students, and regardless of citizenship, I think what Yale SOM does really well is offer an opportunity to explore options for a very global career. So while you may be interested in working for a US-based company, perhaps your work authorization and your interest and your passions will take you to Asia, take you to Europe, take you to Africa. And so we really do encourage students to think about their first job post-GBS, post-MAM, post-MBA quite globally, because the opportunity to work in the US is going to depend entirely on your own application and a little bit of luck, as it is a lottery system. Kelsey, we hit the 45-minute mark, so I think we're about to wrap things up here. As you can see on this last slide, our email address is on the bottom right-hand corner there. We absolutely welcome your questions about the program. We hope to have the application for students who will start in fall of 2021 open, either next month, which is September, towards the end of that month, or in early October. And when that opportunity arises, we will be in touch via email to let you know that the application has launched. In the meantime, we hope that you are all staying safe and healthy in the middle of this global crisis. Again, we welcome your questions, and we thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to getting to know you. So thanks again for joining us. And we'll be having some more webinars over the next couple of weeks as well. So we hope to see you again. Thank you.